The villain who refused to play. I woke with a scream trapped in my throat. I knew that ceiling. No, my voice sounded wrong. Deeper, colder. I pushed myself upright and saw pale hands, long fingers, and a black signet ring. Damien Vale, the hated villain. In the novel, Damien lost his title, his fiancée, his family, and finally his life. And now I was him. The bedroom door opened. A tall knight stepped inside. Young master, Marcus Reed, Damien's personal knight. He looked ready for an argument. I stared at him. What day is it? He frowned. What? The date? April 17th. What year? Marcus's hand moved toward his sword. Should I call the physician? Answer me. He did. My blood went cold. 6 months. I had arrived 6 months before Damien's downfall began. Marcus watched me carefully. Young master? I'm fine. You threw a wine bottle at a servant last night. I closed my eyes. Of course. What happened to him? The servant? Yes. He needed stitches. Pay him. Marcus blinked. What? Double his annual salary. Young master, are you joking? No. And apologize. His expression became almost suspicious. You want me to apologize? No. I will. Marcus stared at me as if I had grown another head. I understood why. The real Damien never apologized. That was exactly why I needed to change everything. I knew the plot. Damien became obsessed with Evelyn Ashford. She fell for Adrian Cross. Damien attacked Adrian publicly. His family abandoned him. Then every crime in the capital somehow landed at his feet. The safest solution was obvious. Avoid everyone. End the engagement. Leave the capital. Stay alive. A maid entered. Lady Evelyn Ashford is here. Send her in. Marcus gave me a strange look. You aren't changing clothes? No. Your hair? No. You usually make her wait. Not today. Evelyn entered wearing blue. Beautiful. Cold. Exactly as the novel described. She looked at Marcus. Leave us. Marcus looked at me. Stay. Evelyn's eyes narrowed. Damien. Fine. Marcus, wait outside. He left reluctantly. Evelyn crossed her arms. I came to make something clear. I'm listening. Stop interfering with Adrian. I almost laughed from relief. This was easy. You're right. She blinked. What? You're right. Her expression hardened. Don't mock me. I'm not. You threatened his promotion. I won't do it again. You sent men to follow him. I'll stop that too. She stared. Why? Because I'm done. Done with what? This. I gestured between us. Her eyes narrowed. Explain. If you want the engagement ended, I'll sign the papers. Silence. I expected relief. Instead, she looked stunned. You're ending it? Yes. Just like that. You asked me to stop treating you like something I own. Her lips parted. You're right. So I'm letting you go. Her face changed in a way I didn't understand. That's all. What else should there be? You spent 3 years refusing. I changed my mind. Why? Because I remembered your future with someone else. Because Damien dies screaming. Because I want no part of this story. I said, because forcing someone to stay is pointless. Evelyn looked angry now. Strangely angry. You expect me to believe that? You don't have to. I don't. She turned toward the door. Then stopped. When will you send the papers? Tomorrow. Her hand tightened around the handle. Fine. She left without looking back. That went well. Marcus stepped inside. No, it didn't. I looked at him. What? She looked furious. That's not my problem. He stared. You really intend an engagement? Yes. And then leave. Leave what? The capital. His face changed. Why? Because I'm tired. You've never said that before. People change. Marcus's jaw tightened, sometimes too quickly. That afternoon, I ordered half of Damien's useless luxuries sold. 3 racing horses, a gold carriage, Imported statues. 2 jeweled swords. The steward looked terrified. Have I offended you, my lord? No. Then why are you selling everything? Because I don't need it. He stared. I added. And the servant from last night? He is resting. I want to apologize. The steward nearly dropped his ledger. By evening, the entire estate probably believed I had lost my mind. Clara found me in the library. You're selling the horses? Yes. You love those horses. Damien did. She frowned. What? I said I did. She stepped closer. I heard you're in the engagement. Yes. And leaving the capital. Yes. Her face went strangely still. Why? I assumed the answer was obvious. You'll finally get what you want. What I want. You won't have to deal with me anymore. Clara looked hurt. Actually hurt. I didn't understand it. Damien, I never said I wanted you gone. You didn't need to. She turned away. Idiot. Then she left. Marcus stood in the doorway. Young master, people may understand your silence differently than you intend. I'm not responsible for everyone's interpretation. You may regret thinking that. I ignored him. The next morning, Adrian Cross requested a meeting. He entered my study looking ready for battle. I don't want war between us. Neither do I. He stopped. That's it. Yes. What about Evelyn? She's free. His expression changed. You're serious? Completely? Why? I smiled faintly. Consider it a gift. He did not smile back. That worried me, but I had bigger problems. A royal invitation waited on my desk. The banquet. I remembered the scene perfectly. Damien gets drunk. Adrian dances with Evelyn. Damien attacks him before the court. That humiliation begins everything. Exile. Accusations. Death. I folded the invitation. Marcus asked, will you attend? Yes. He looked surprised. I stared at the royal seal. But I won't follow the script. The banquet, that broke the story. The royal ballroom looked familiar. Evelyn sat 3 tables away beside Adrian. Victor Ashford watched me over his wine glass. Clara stood near the musicians and refused to meet my eyes. Marcus leaned toward me. You're unusually quiet. I'm enjoying the evening. You hate royal banquets. I'm developing new interests. Such as survival. He frowned. I lifted my water. Relax. I'm not drinking tonight. That may be the first sensible decision you made all week. I almost smiled. In the novel, this banquet destroyed Damien Vale. He drank too much. He saw Evelyn dancing with Adrian. He insulted Adrian before half the court, grabbed Evelyn's wrist, and threatened anyone who challenged their engagement. By morning, everyone called him dangerous. 6 months later, he was dead. I only needed to stay quiet. Then Adrian approached. Damien. Adrian. Evelyn appeared behind him. You're behaving strangely. So everyone keeps telling me. You've been staring at us. I'm watching the room. Why? Because I know what happens next. I shrugged. Habit. Before she could answer, Victor called her away. Adrian remained. You truly don't mind? About Evelyn? Yes. She isn't mine. You used to disagree. I used to be an idiot. He laughed once. That may be the first thing we agree on. Marcus appeared beside me. Dance starting. I looked toward the floor. My stomach tightened. This was it. In the original story, Adrian asked Evelyn to dance. Damien drank 3 glasses of wine. Then everything collapsed. Adrian extended his hand toward Evelyn. She accepted. Marcus watched me. Well, what? Aren't you going to stop them? No. You threatened to break his legs last month. I've become attached to peace. Marcus stared at me. I stayed seated. A servant approached carrying wine. My lord, I'm not drinking. He hesitated. This was specifically prepared for House Vale. Take it away. Yes, my lord. As he reached across the table, something small slipped from his sleeve. A dark glass bottle landed beside my plate. The servant froze. So, did I knew that bottle. Nightshade extract. In the novel, Damien later used it during his final crime, the bottle that proved he was a murderer. Marcus turned toward another knight for 1 second. The servant snatched at the bottle. I caught it first. "My lord, please." "What is this?" "Medicine." "For whom?" "I don't know." "You carried unknown medicine in your sleeve?" His face whitened. "Give it back." I stared at the black liquid. Damien dies anyway. No matter how many scenes I change, perhaps the story will drag me toward the same ending. Evelyn and Adrian were supposed to survive. Clara would inherit peace. Lucian would restore House Vale. Everyone's happy ending began after Damien disappeared. Maybe fighting fate was pointless. Maybe I could simply leave early. Marcus turned back. "Damien?" I opened the bottle. His face changed. "Don't." I poured it into my wine. Marcus lunged. I lifted the glass. "Damien!" I drank everything. Then Marcus struck the glass from my hand. "What did you do?" The ballroom went silent. I breathed out, finished it. Evelyn rushed toward me. Her eyes dropped to the empty bottle. Her face became white. "Damien, what did you drink?" "Something that should solve everyone's problem." She slapped the glass from the table. "Physician!" Her scream cut through the ballroom. "Someone get physician!" I blinked at her. Why was she crying? Adrian grabbed my shoulder. "Damien, stay awake. You don't need to pretend." "What?" My legs weakened. Adrian caught me before I hit the floor. "Take care of her," I whispered. "Who?" "Evelyn." He stared at me. That was supposed to be your role anyway. "What are you talking about?" Clara pushed through the crowd. "Move." She dropped beside me. "Damien?" "I'm fine. You drank poison. Temporary problem." "Temporary?" Tears spilled down her face. I stared. Clara never cried for Damien in the novel. She grabbed my coat. "Who told you we wanted this?" "What?" "Who told you we wanted you dead?" A cold voice thundered across the ballroom. "Seal every door." Lucian, my older brother, strode toward us. "No one leaves this palace." Victor moved toward the exit. Lucian pointed. "Stop him." Victor froze. "This is absurd." "So is fleeing after my brother is poisoned. I was getting help." "Then you can help by staying." Marcus seized the servant. "Where did you get the bottle?" "I don't know." "You dropped it beside him." "It was an accident." "Who supplied it?" "I swear." "Marcus." A physician shoved through the crowd. "Dr. Elias." He knelt beside me. "What poison?" "Nightshade," Marcus said. "Elias cursed. Keep him awake." "I'd rather sleep." Elias grabbed my jaw. "You sleep, you die." That was somewhat the idea. Everyone went silent again. Evelyn stared at me. "What did you say?" "Nothing." "You did this intentionally?" I closed my eyes. She slapped my cheek. "Look at me." I opened them. Her face was wet with tears. "You absolute fool." Elias pressed a cup against my mouth. "Drink." "No." Marcus held my shoulders. "Forgive me, young master." "For what?" "For ignoring your orders." Elias forced the antidote between my lips. I coughed violently. Again, Elias ordered. "I hate you. Survive first." Adrian held me upright. Clara clutched my hand. Lucian shouted orders. Marcus threatened the servant. Evelyn kept crying. None of this was right. They were supposed to hate me. I was supposed to be the obstacle, the villain, the person everyone wanted gone. My vision blurred. "Why?" I whispered. Evelyn leaned closer. "What?" "Why are you crying?" Her expression shattered. "You idiot." Darkness crept across the room. Her fingers tightened around mine. I wanted freedom from the engagement. I never wanted a world without you. I stared at her through the darkness. Those words did not belong in the novel. Neither did her tears. For the first time since waking as Damien Vale, I wondered whether the story I remembered had ever told me the truth. Maybe the villain was created. I stopped trying to escape the story. Instead, I investigated it. Adrian spread forged letters across my desk. Sophia added financial records. Marcus brought servant statements. Lucian brought anger. Roland should be arrested now, he said. On suspicion? On common sense. That is not evidence. He tried to kill you. Then prove it. Lucian slammed his hand against the table. You nearly died. I noticed. And you still want procedure? I want a case he cannot escape. Evelyn watched me quietly. What? She shook her head. Nothing. That looks at something. She exhaled. I believe too much. About Damien? About you. I corrected myself before the strange phrasing became obvious. About me? She looked down. I believed every rumor, because some of them sounded like things you might do. That is fair. No, it isn't. It is... She frowned. You're defending me from apologizing? I'm saying you had reasons not to trust Damien. Being manipulated doesn't erase the pain he caused you. Sophia tapped one document. This account supposedly proves you paid men to attack Adrian. I remember that accusation. The payment came from a Veil account. So, the authorization mark is wrong. Lucian leaned closer. How wrong? The seal pattern is from an older set. Marcus said Roland's office had access to archived copies. Adrian lifted another letter. And these love letters? Evelyn grimaced. Fake. Painfully fake, Adrian said. I looked at him. You sound offended. I would never write. Your eyes outshine the moonlit sea. Sophia smiled. You absolutely might. I would rather die. I raised an eyebrow. Bad choice of words. Everyone went quiet. The servant confessed he planted the poison. My smile disappeared. To whom? Not to the mastermind. Of course. He says a palace clerk paid him. Roland's clerk? Yes. Lucian stood. That is enough. No. Damien. We need Roland tied directly to the order. What more do you want? The reason. Sophia looked at me. Power. Too broad. Adrian nodded. If Roland wanted House Veil weakened, why use Evelyn? The room fell silent. I thought of Victor Ashford, his suspicion at the banquet, his attempt to leave. Bring Victor. Evelyn stiffened. My father? Yes. Her face hardened. Do it. Victor arrived an hour later furious. This is insulting. I gestured toward the chair. Sit. I do not answer to you. Then answer to Evelyn. His expression changed. She stepped forward. Father, did you know about the forged letters? No. Did you know Roland was using our debts? Victor froze. There it was. Evelyn whispered. Our debts. Victor looked at me. You told her? I guessed. He sat down heavily. Our estates were failing. Evelyn looked wounded. You said we were stable. I was protecting you. By doing what? Victor covered his face. Roland offered relief. In exchange for? Breaking the Veil engagement. My chest tightened. How? He said Damien would destroy himself if pushed hard enough. Lucian moved toward him. I raised a hand. Victor continued. Roland forged rumors. Letters. Financial accusations. And you helped. I passed information. Evelyn's voice shook. You used me. I was trying to save our family. From debt? Yes. And what happened after Damien fell? Victor looked away. What did Roland promise? Your marriage to a southern prince. Evelyn went pale. What? He planned to use you politically. I said. Victor looked at me. I did not know until recently. That is why you tried to leave the banquet. He nodded. I realized the poison was not part of what we agreed. By evening, the royal council had assembled. Roland stood across the chamber from me. Calm, almost amused. The king's advisor read the accusation. Roland smiled. Damien Veil accusing others of manipulation? Murmurs filled the room. I stepped forward. No, evidence is accusing you. Sophia presented the altered financial records. Adrian held up the forged letters. These were attributed to me, he said. I never wrote them. Roland shrugged. Convenient. Marcus dragged the palace servant forward. The man trembled. I planted the poison. The council erupted. Roland's smile faded. Under whose order? I asked. A clerk from Chancellor Crest's office. Roland laughed. A clerk can use my name. Victor rose. I worked with him. Silence. Roland turned. Victor, you promised to erase my debts. You are confused. You promised Evelyn would be free of veil. Evelyn stared at Roland, and then you planned to marry me off. Roland's expression finally cracked. He pointed at Adrian. This was a scheme. Adrian stepped forward. Then explain why your office paid the servant. I did not. Sophia placed one final ledger on the table. Your personal authorization seal. Roland looked at it. For the first time, he had no answer. The royal guards moved closer. He looked at me. You should be dead. The room went silent. I held his gaze. There it is. His face twisted. You ruined everything by surviving. You made Damien look unstable. You were unstable. Sometimes. You threatened people. Yes. You controlled Evelyn. Yes. You think admitting it makes you innocent? No. That surprised him. I am not claiming innocence. I looked around the chamber. I was jealous, controlling, angry, cruel with words. Those choices were mine. Evelyn watched me, but the forged letters were not. I pointed to the records. The false payments were not. Then the servant. The poison was not. Roland stared at me. Why are you fighting so hard to protect a life you try to throw away? The question struck deeper than I expected. I thought of Clara crying beside my bed, Lucian's guilt, Marcus refusing to leave, Evelyn screaming for a physician, Adrian catching me before I hit the floor. I had treated this life like a borrowed costume, disposable, temporary. I finally understood the cruelty in that, because I finally learned it belonged to me. The guard seized Roland. He fought once, then stopped. As they dragged him away, Lucian exhaled. It's over. No. He frowned. I looked at Evelyn. Not everything. Later, she found me alone on the palace balcony. The city lights burned below us. You meant what you said inside? Which part? That you hurt me? Yes. And you still want the engagement ended? I looked at her. She stepped closer. Damien, is that still what you truly want? Hashtag Chapter 3. The truth behind the villain. I woke expecting silence. Instead, I heard Lucian shouting outside my room. If his fever rises again, I want every royal physician here. My lord, he is stable. Stable men do not nearly die. I opened my eyes. Clara was asleep beside my bed, her hand wrapped around mine. Marcus stood near the window. He noticed me move. Young master? Clara jerked awake. Damien? I'm alive. She hit my shoulder. Pain exploded through me. Ow. Good. What? If that hurt, you're alive. Her eyes filled immediately. I stared at her. Why are you crying? Her face hardened. Don't start. I'm asking. You poisoned yourself. I know. Why? I looked away. It seemed easier. Easier for whom? Everyone. Clara stood. Stop saying that. What? That everyone wants you gone. I thought. You never think. Marcus quietly turned toward the window. Clara wiped her face. When father was drunk, who locked my bedroom door? I froze. Damien did. You did. I said nothing. Who stood between us when he tried hitting me? I don't remember. I do. Her voice broke. You took every punishment meant for me. Then father died. You inherited everything. And suddenly you stopped speaking to me. Clara, I thought you hated me. I thought you hated me. She laughed bitterly. We're both idiots. The door opened. Lucian entered. You're awake. Apparently. He looked exhausted. You frightened everyone. I didn't realize that was possible. His jaw tightened. Stop. Stop what? Speaking as though your death would be convenient. I studied him. You barely tolerate me. Lucian looked at Clara. Leave us. No. Clara. I said no. He sighed. Fine. Then he faced me. 7 years ago. Father's counsel deal failed. I know. You took responsibility. The novel said Damien caused it. Lucian continued. It was my proposal. I stared. What? I convinced Father to support the trade agreement. When it collapsed, you claimed the decision was yours. Why? To protect me. Clara whispered. You always did that. Lucian's expression twisted. I let you, so your coldness was shame. My chest tightened. Everything I remembered felt less certain. A knock interrupted us. Evelyn entered. I need to speak with Damien. Clara crossed her arms. Don't upset him. Evelyn almost laughed. He drank poison voluntarily. I doubt I can make his week worse. They left reluctantly. Evelyn stood beside my bed. You look terrible. Thank you. Why did you do it? We discussed this. No, you gave everyone nonsense. I looked at her. You wanted the engagement ended. I wanted the engagement ended, not your life. You hated Damien. Her eyes narrowed. Why do you keep speaking about yourself like you're someone else? I went still. She continued. Yes, you hurt me. I know. You followed me, controlled who I met, threatened Adrian. I know. I hated that version of you. That sounds reasonable. But I remember another one. I frowned. When my mother died, everyone told me to stop crying. She sat beside me. You found me behind the chapel. I remembered nothing. You gave me your coat and sat there for 3 hours. Why? You said grief became heavier when people rushed it. That did not sound like the villain I remembered. Evelyn looked down. I never hated everything about you. Then why Adrian? There is no Adrian in me. I stared. What? The door opened again. Adrian stepped inside. I told her we should explain. I looked between them. You're not in love? Adrian grimaced. With Evelyn? No offense. Evelyn rolled her eyes. None taken. Then the meetings? Council corruption. I sat straighter despite the pain. Then why did the entire capital believe you want her? Adrian's expression darkened. Because someone benefited from making you jealous. Sophia entered carrying papers. I found proof. I recognized Evelyn's closest friend. She placed several letters before me. These supposedly came from Adrian. I read one. Meet me after midnight. Damien cannot know. Sophia pointed at the signature. Forged. Adrian nodded. I never wrote them. My pulse quickened. Dr. Elias entered behind her. I have worse news. Wonderful. He held the poison bottle inside a cloth. The stopper was loosened beforehand. Marcus turned. Meaning? It was prepared to spill. Near me, I said. Elias nodded. Someone wanted you to find it. A chill moved through me. In the novel, Damien eventually possessed that exact poison. What if that detail had never meant what I assumed? What if someone had always intended to place it in his hands? A servant announced, Chancellor Roland Cress. Roland entered wearing concern, like a perfectly fitted coat. My dear Damien. Something inside me tightened. I heard you nearly died. So did half the capital. You must rest. Leave investigations to healthier men. Adrian glanced at me. Roland smiled. Survival should be your only concern. Interesting advice. I mean it kindly. I'm sure. After he left, Marcus closed the door. You didn't like that? No, neither did I. He pulled a folded account sheet from his coat. I investigated the servant. And he received 3 payments before the banquet. From whom? A clerk attached to Chancellor Crest's office. Silence filled the room. Evelyn whispered, Roland? Sophia shook her head. We need proof. I stared at the papers around me. Yesterday I wanted to escape. Now Clara's tears, Lucian's guilt, Marcus's loyalty, and Evelyn's anger crowded my thoughts. Could I still run? Maybe. But could I pretend nobody cared? No. Sophia suddenly reached into her bag. There's something else. She handed me an old letter. I recognized the handwriting immediately. Mine. Damien's. When was this written? Before you started behaving differently. My hands shook as I unfolded it. Most of the page described suspicious council payments. I stared at my handwriting until the ink blurred. The old Damien had known. Maybe he had not been stumbling toward destruction. Maybe he had been investigating it alone. If Roland knew Damien suspected him, then the scandals, forged letters, and poison were not accidents. They were steps, and I had completed the step willingly. I whispered, I helped him. Marcus frowned. What? Nothing. But it was not nothing. Then I reached the final line. My breath stopped. Marcus leaned closer. What does it say? I read aloud. If anything happens to me, investigate Chancellor Crest. The story I chose to live. Evelyn met me on the balcony the morning after Roland's arrest. She held our engagement ring in her palm. So, she asked, so what? You avoided my question yesterday. I was poisoned recently. I'm allowed one delayed answer. She almost smiled. Damien. I looked at the ring. I still want an engagement. Her fingers tightened. I expected anger. Instead, she nodded. All right. That easily? No, not easily. She placed the ring in my hand. But caring about you doesn't erase what happened between us. I swallowed. I hurt you. Yes. And nearly dying doesn't magically make me better. No. If we ever choose each other again, I want it to be because we became different people. Not because guilt pushed us together. Exactly. I close my fingers around the ring. Then we start separately. As friends. Maybe acquaintances who occasionally survive political conspiracies together. That is strangely specific. My standards changed. She smiled. For once, letting her go did not feel like losing. It felt honest. Marcus found me later in the training courtyard. Young master. What? Do you still believe you're the villain? I lower my sword. I think I was a man who made terrible mistakes. That isn't the same as being born for a bad ending. Marcus nodded. Adrian arrived carrying a folded coat. He threw it at me. What is this? Evidence. Of your crimes against fashion. I unfolded it. A dark stain covered the front. I stared. Is this from the banquet? You vomited poison on my favorite coat. I laughed before I could stop myself. Adrian looked offended. You think this is amusing? I nearly died. And somehow my coat suffered most. You caught me. My first mistake. Your second was keeping the coat. I need reimbursement. I saved you from being framed for attempted murder. That covers half. Clara heard me from the corridor. What are you laughing about? Adrian's coat. Her expression changed immediately. No banquet jokes. I didn't make one. You're thinking one. That seems difficult to prove. She walked over and hugged me. I froze. Clara rarely touched me unless she was hitting my shoulder. What is this? A hug. Are you ill? She tightened her arms. Shut up. I stopped joking. Her voice became quiet. When Marcus shouted that you drank poison, I thought I had lost you again. Again? I lost you years ago. She stepped back. You were alive, but you stopped being my brother. You stopped talking to me. You carried everything alone and pushed me away. I'm sorry. I spent years waiting for you to come back. My throat tightened, and then when you finally started acting like yourself again, you tried to die. I didn't understand. No, you didn't. I thought none of you were real. She frowned. I could not explain novels, memories, or waking inside another life without sounding insane. But I could tell her the truth that mattered. I treated everyone like characters in a story whose feelings had already been decided. Clara stared at me. I assumed I knew what you thought, what Lucian thought, what Evelyn wanted, what Adrian wanted. That was stupid. Extremely. So stop doing it. I'm trying. Good. She hugged me again. This time, I hugged her back. Lucian was harder. He found me in Father's old study that evening. I owe you an apology. I looked up. He sat across from me. You protected me when we were young. You accepted Father's anger, political blame, and responsibilities that should have been shared. I also became unbearable. Yes. Thank you. I am apologizing. You agreed too quickly. Lucian almost smiled. I watched you become crueler and told myself it was your nature. The truth was easier than admitting I helped leave you alone. We both failed. I was your older brother, and I was very talented at pushing people away. He extended his hand. I looked at it. That is painfully formal. What do you suggest? I stood and hugged him. Months passed. Roland's network collapsed under investigation. Properties purchased with stolen funds were seized. Families ruined by his schemes received compensation. But money could not repair everything. So I created something more permanent. The program funded housing, legal support, and education for families damaged by Roland's corruption. Evelyn helped organize the legal offices. Adrian handled trade cases. Lucian managed estate contributions. Clara bullied everyone. I coordinate, she corrected. You threaten. Efficiently. For the first time, I stopped asking whether an event belonged to the original plot. I stopped counting months until Damien's supposed death. I stopped searching every conversation for signs of destiny. Then another formal dinner arrived. The servant approached my seat with a wine bottle. The table went silent. I watched 6 pairs of eyes follow the bottle. The servant noticed too. His hand trembled. I almost felt sorry for him. He poured. Nobody breathed. I looked around the table. Relax. I'm not planning to die tonight. Clara slammed down her fork. You're never allowed to make that joke. Evelyn pointed at me. Ever. Adrian raised his glass. For once, I agree with them. Lucian sighed. I also agree. Marcus muttered. Unanimous. I smiled and lifted my glass. Then I took a safe sip. Nothing happened. No poison. No screaming. No collapsing body. Just wine. For so long, I believed surviving meant dragging out a story whose ending had already been written. I thought the fastest way to defeat fate was to remove myself before fate could destroy me. But when I drank that poison, the people I believed hated me panicked. They fought for my life while I had already surrendered it. That was when I finally understood. Maybe I had inherited the villain's name, his mistakes, his enemies, and his ruined relationships. Maybe some of the hatred surrounding him had even been deserved. But an ending was not a sentence. I did not need everyone to forgive me. I did not need Evelyn to love me. I did not need to become a hero. I only needed the courage to live long enough to become someone different. I once drank poison because I wanted to end the plot quickly. Instead, surviving became the moment my real story began.